Morning, guys. We're on Hebrews chapter 12, reading just verses 1 and 2. Therefore, since we have a great cloud of witnesses, that word therefore means that it's conjunction from the previous chapter. So knowing that we've got these men of faith to follow, and they are witnesses. That word witness can be very similar in Greek to the word martyr. In fact, it's sometimes translated as the word martyr. In Acts regarding Stephen, who was martyred, Antipas in Revelation. So they're an example, if we look at their faith, of how they put aside sin and endured. So it goes, therefore, since we have a great cloud of witnesses, all these men of faith surrounding us, let us also lay aside every encumbrance, and the sin. So there's two things. We're laying aside that weight, things that will pull us back. In the context of the Hebrews, it's their old covenant and systems, their laws of cleanliness and everything that was a weight around their shoulders. Whereas Christ says, my weight is light. Come to me, all those who are weary and heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. And so we can carry things even today. We can put heavy burdens on one another and ourselves that are unnecessary. And also, these burdens can cause us to sin. So there's certain things that we allow into our lives and we compromise, and they actually can be a temptation to us. So we need to get rid of anything that will stop us moving forward in this walk and this race of faith. But also, so let us lay aside every encumbrance or weight and the sin. Let us lay aside sin, which so easily entangles us. These are the things that hold us back in this race of faith. And let us run with endurance. So it's an enduring faith, the race that is set before us. We've all been set in a race. We need to persevere to the end. We need to keep on keeping on. In Hebrews chapter 10, verse 35, just going back a few chapters, it says, therefore, do not throw away your confidence, which is a great reward. So our reward we set before us is Christ and the glory and the rewards to come. But don't throw away your reward, for you have need of endurance. It's an enduring faith, so that when you have done the will of God, you may receive what is promised. For yet a little while, the coming one will come and will not delay. Our eyes are fixed on the coming one, that's Jesus. But my righteous one shall live by faith. And if he shrinks back, so if we allow those sins and those weights to encompass us and pull us back, my soul has no pleasure in him. But we are not of those who shrink back and are destroyed, but we are those who have faith and persevere their souls. And so we need to keep on, and we need to be putting off, and we need to be plodding on. And a lot of their issues were unbelief. In other words, we're in a context of faith towards God, and for them, their faith was in the things around them. John 16 verse 8 says, and when he comes, he'll convict the world concerning sin and righteousness and judgment. This is Jesus. Concerning sin, because they do not believe in him. Unbelief is sin, and we read that in Hebrews 11. And so we need to continue in faith. Verse 2, fixing our eyes on Jesus. So that's where our eyes need to be fixed in this race, not on our circumstances, not what's happening about us, but on Jesus. He is the author and the perfecter of our faith. He is the one who gave us faith. We are saved by faith. It's faith in him. So he's the author, he's the beginning of our faith, and the perfecter. So he's also sanctifies us in faith, and he will bring us through to the end. Philippians 1 verse 6, for I'm confident of this very thing, that he who began a good work in you will, there's a word, perfect it until the day of Christ Jesus. And so the author and the perfecter of our faith, who for the joy and endurance should be done, not by gritting our teeth, but as James says, count it all joy when you face those trials. He endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of God. The right hand, the hand, the side of authority, the side of the high priest, the intercessor, the side who is one with God. Let me just close with these two verses. Galatians 6 verse 9. Let us not grow weary of doing good. It's a race, it's tiring, but let's not grow weary of doing good. For in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Let's not give up. Let's not fall back. Verse 10. So then we have an opportunity. Let us do good to everyone, especially to those who are the household of faith. So let's not grow tired of doing good works. And 1 Corinthians 9 talks about, verse 24, this race that we're in. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives the prize? So run that you may obtain it. Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. They do it to receive not to do a perishable wealth, but we have an imperishable. So I do not run aimlessly, I do not box as one beats the air, but I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others I myself be disqualified. And so Paul is saying he doesn't just he's a boxer boxing in the air. He's actually hitting himself. He's dealing with his flesh. He's giving himself a black eye. In other words, he's dealing with those things that entangle him, those weights, that sin, that he wants to put that aside, because he knows he needs to deal with that in order to reach the end. And so his eyes are fixed on Jesus, but at the same time he's beating his body into subjection. And that's how that race has to carry on. We're getting rid of the stuff that's pulling us back, and we're pressing on towards the goal. Amen.